Alright guys, in this video I'm going to talk about power of a product property. So basically it's the third rule in our notes. The first two rules we looked at separately, but now we're going to see what happens when we have to use both of them at the same time. So whenever you have terms inside of parentheses and it's being raised to that power, you're basically going to think of distributing that power to everything that's inside the parentheses. So for example, the base, since these two have two different bases, the new base is going to be a, and that's going to be to the n power. That's the first term, multiplied by the different base of b to the n power. So basically we're just splitting that up. So I want you to think of distributing the exponent. Distribute the exponent. Okay, so let's look at our practice problems here so you can see where it's coming from. Really quickly, I want to show you guys the long version so that you can see, if we didn't have these rules, like what would you have to do? So, for example, in this case, for the first one, I have the -2 times u times w. All of that is my base. So remember that anything that's in the base is being copied by however many times you have that exponent. So in this case, I have to copy what I've highlighted 2 times. So it'll look something like this. -2 times u times w times -2 times u times w. Okay. Now, remember from previous videos, I've talked about how whenever you have a variable standing alone, really this is u to the first power, this is w to the first power, u to the first power, and w to the first power, as well as the number. So really this is -2 to the first power, but I'm not really going to talk about that right now. Just focus on the variables having a power of 1. Okay. The next thing I want to do is multiply two terms that I know are the same, so I can multiply them. So -2 times -2 gives me +4. And then based on the first rule that I talked about, the rule where if you have the same base, you have to add the exponents. So in order for me to solve for the new exponent of u, I'm going to take that first exponent of 1, which is right here, and I'm going to add it to that exponent. So this is what my work will look like, because there's 2 u's. And then for w, I have w to the first power plus 1. And my simplified expression is going to be 4 times u to the second times w to the second. So that's, oops, actually I don't want to do that right now. So that's really my final answer right there. So that was a long version. If we didn't have the exponent rules, this is what technically we would do, but with larger numbers, and that's going to be cause a little bit of a headache. So that's what I just want you to see where that's coming from. And now what I'm going to do is take the rule that I just taught you guys about distributing the exponent to everything inside, and it'll be so much easier. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'll have -2, because it's already in parentheses, I'm going to square that. I have u to the first power already, but that's being multiplied by 2. That's the rule here. We're going to multiply. And w, I already have that w to the first power, and I'm going to multiply that by 2 as well. So my final answer is -2 to the second power is 4 u squared times w squared. And there you go. Okay. So for my next part of my the next equation, I have 2 different parts of this that I want to tackle on, but before I do that, I want to let you know that I don't really need these parentheses in front. They're just there so that you can see that this is, together, and this part right here is being squared. I'm not going to show you the long version for this. I'm just going to show you the shortened version. But I want to let you know that I'm going to take on this right here, this exponent, and the base here. This will come later. So I'm just going to copy and paste -2ab, because I'll do that in a second. But what I really want to focus on is the second part. I'm going to be distributing this squared to everything inside the second set of parentheses. So this is what it's going to look like. I have a squared already. When I distribute that exponent, remember when you distribute in a normal equation, you multiply. So really I'm going to be multiplying this exponent by 2, because I have to raise a to the second power to another power of 2. Then I'm going to take this b. b is already technically b to the first power. I'm going to raise that to the second power, but really that's just me multiplying by 2. And then now I'm going to simplify the right-hand side. So I'm going to copy this side. And this is really a to the fourth power times b to the second power. Okay? So hopefully you guys see that when I distribute this 2, I multiplied it to this 2, and then this 2 is now the new exponent for the b base. So that's that part, the first part, but now I can go ahead and look at these two. Now, these parentheses right here can dissolve realistically. Like I can make it, this is the same thing as if I were to take this away and then just multiply them, okay? When we're in this format, we've seen it in the first video where we have the same bases, we add exponents. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. -2, a is really a to the first power, and this b is really to the first power. So I want to combine like terms. I want to add the exponents that have the same base. So this -2 that's sitting in the front, that's already done. I figured that one out because there's nothing else I'm going to multiply that by with. But the next one, I have a to the first power from the original problem. And because these two have the same base, from the first rule that we learned, we just add the exponents. So I'm going to add 1 and 4 together. Okay, so I'll figure that out in a second. And then my next number is, or my next variable is b. Really, I have b to the first power plus 2. So my final answer is -2 times a to the fifth power times b to the third power. Okay, so hopefully this video has kind of explained to you that you will have to use both of these properties that we learned at the top here in order to solve more complicated problems. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know in class. All right, bye.